One empire defined the ancient world. It forged continents with its legions, built cities that touched the sky, and created a system of law and culture that became the bedrock of Western civilization. It was an empire that believed itself to be eternal. Another defines the modern one, a global superpower with unparalleled military might, a cultural and economic force that shapes the lives of billions, a republic built on the very ideals of the first, an empire that also believes in its own exceptionalism. For centuries, the comparison between Rome and America was a whisper, an academic curiosity. Today, that whisper has become a roar. From the halls of academia to the corridors of power, the question is no longer if America is following Rome's path, but how far down that path it has already traveled. Is the United States of America simply the new Roman Empire? Welcome to Roman Legacy. Today, we are not just asking a question, we are holding up a mirror. We will explore the 5 critical parallels between these two superpowers, and the final, terrifying parallel that every American, every citizen of the world needs to understand. Parallel 1. The unconquerable eagle. The Roman aquila, or eagle, was more than a standard. It was a symbol of Rome's absolute, unquestionable dominance. The Roman legions were the most sophisticated, lethal fighting force of their time. But their strength wasn't just in the gladius, it was in their logistics. Their ability to build roads, forts, and supply lines faster than their enemies could mobilize. From the blistering sands of Syria to the cold forests of Britannia, Rome's word was law, because its legions, backed by an unmatched logistical machine, would enforce it. They achieved the Pax Romana, the Roman peace, a peace bought with iron. Today, another eagle, the American bald eagle, symbolizes a new kind of dominance. The United States military budget is larger than the next 10 countries combined. But like Rome, its true power lies in logistics. The C-17 Globemaster, the network of supply chains, the ability to project power anywhere on Earth within 48 hours. With over 750 military bases spread across 80 countries, its reach is global. Like Rome, America enforces a Pax Americana, a global order backed by the most technologically advanced military in human history. Rome had its client states, kingdoms that were technically independent but bowed to Rome's will. America has its allies, nations that host its troops and follow its foreign policy.
In a quarter mile,
The model
the destination
is
on your right.
identical. Both empires, separated by 2 millennia, built their world through unrivaled military power. Parallel 2. The World Builders. All roads lead to Rome. This wasn't just a saying, it was a literal strategic truth. The Romans were master engineers. They engineered over 50,000 miles of sophisticated paved roads and massive aqueducts that carried water for hundreds of miles. This infrastructure wasn't just for convenience, it was for control. The roads moved legions quickly to crush rebellions. They carried grain to feed the capital. They were the arteries of the empire, ensuring that all commerce, all communication flowed through Rome. Now, think of America's infrastructure. Yes, the vast interstate highway system, a modern marvel. But America's true roads are invisible. The Internet, a project started by the U.S. military. The GPS system, a constellation of satellites owned and operated by the U.S. Air Force, which billions use for free. The global financial system, which runs on the U.S. dollar, and the SWIFT banking system, which America can use to cut entire nations off from the world economy. Just as Rome built the physical infrastructure for its world, America has built the digital and financial infrastructure for ours. Both are instruments of unparalleled global control. Parallel 3. The cultural conquest. Rome's most lasting conquest was not by the sword. It was by its culture. The process was called Romanization. Rome didn't just conquer you, it convinced you that you wanted to be Roman. It offered citizenship, theaters, baths, and laws. Conquered elites began to speak Latin, wear togas, and name their children Marcus. Latin became the language of commerce, law, and learning. Roman law itself provides the foundation for legal systems across Europe and the Americas, including the United States. Today, we don't call it Romanization. We call it Americanization. America's most potent weapon may not be its aircraft carriers, but its soft power. The idea of the American dream, the promise of freedom and prosperity, is a cultural export more powerful than any legion. You don't need to live in English to live in what some call the American Empire. You are already living in
enemy
it.
of Rome.
Americans'
Your
soft
corruption will be
power.
purged from the
It's
Senate.
Hollywood movies which create a global mythology. It's music. It's brands like Apple, Google, and
The
Coca-Cola.
brightest future
And
we've
its
ever
language,
seen.
English, the new global lingua franca, have saturated the globe more completely than any Roman chariot ever could. This is cultural dominance on an unprecedented, seductive
Session is out of order.
scale.
We demand a vote
First, extreme economic inequality. In the late Republic, a tiny elite, the senatorial class, owned almost all the wealth and land. They created vast latifundia, or plantation-style farms, worked by slaves.
Modern shot of
The
Wall
common Roman
Street. The bull
citizen,
statue.
the soldier, the farmer, the plebeian, was pushed off his land and into the cities, becoming a jobless, angry mob. Reformers like the Gracchi brothers, who tried to give land back to the poor, were murdered by the elite. Second, political polarization and gridlock. The system broke. The political spectrum split into two irreconcilable factions. The optimates, the best men, who represented the old money and traditions of the elite, and the populares, the populists, who used the angry mob to gain power. Men like Marius and Sulla, they didn't just disagree, they saw each other as enemies of the state. They broke political norms, used violence, and paralyzed the government. Trust in the institutions and in each other evaporated. And fourth, a sense of moral and social decay. The old values, the mos maiorum, or way of the ancestors, were seen as lost. The elite were viewed as decadent and out of touch. The common people were seen as lazy, demanding bread and circuses. A culture war raged over the very identity of what it meant to be Roman. Now, look at America. Historians, and not just a few, now point to the very same four horsemen of Rome's apocalypse. A staggering wealth gap, wider than it has been since the 1920s, hollowing out the middle class. Political polarization so deep, red versus blue, that the two sides see each other not as rivals, but as mortal enemies. A system in gridlock, where trust in institutions is at an all-time low. A military engaged for decades in forever wars. A global war on terror, stretching its resources, its budget, and its people to the breaking point. And a raging culture war, a bitter conflict over what it means to be American.
Rome's republic did not survive this sickness. The infighting, the inequality, the gridlock, the ambitious generals, it all paved the way for a single powerful, strong man to rise, Julius Caesar. He crossed the Rubicon, he destroyed the Republic, and he did it to the cheers of the common people, who were desperate for anyone to fix the broken system.
Because this is about you.
They traded their liberty for order, and after him came Emperor Augustus, and the end of the Republic forever. So, is America the new Rome? The parallels are undeniable. The power, the culture, the engineering, the global reach. But also the dangers, the internal sickness, the very same sickness that killed Rome. History is not a destination. It is a warning. It is a mirror. Rome's fate was its inability or its unwillingness to see and to solve the internal cancers that were killing it until it was too late. The final question, the only question that matters, is not whether America is Rome, but whether America can learn from Rome, whether it can see its own reflection in the mirror of history and choose a different path, or whether, like its great predecessor, it will ignore the warnings and walk step by step down the same familiar road to ruin. The choice rests with you. What do you think? Is this comparison fair or flawed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to understand the past to navigate the future, subscribe to Roman Legacy. Thank you for watching.
History, legends, and great mysteries, hit that subscribe button and join our journey into the past.